I'm Kathianne Lewis. I feel really badly because there were a lot of people, first service, that were holding bears and other things. This was the only thing left under the tree. And I think it felt alone. Who would like to bless this guy? Oh, yeah, sure, the one's way over there. Okay, I've been told I throw like a girl, but here goes. Oh, I can do this. Easy breezy. There. Woo-hoo. Dog. Lion King. Here we go. You. Ready to receive? Okay, here we go. Whoa! The Seahawks are changing all of us. Because, did you see? Yeah, they did. Yeah, Russell Lewis. Yeah. All right. So. I want to welcome all of you to the Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Kathianne Lewis, and this is a very auspicious day. I was told to ask an older child to come up and help me. Come up. Okay, come on. Yes. All right. All right. Here we go. All right. So, this is an auspicious day. It only happens once a year. What day is it?
Summer solstice?
Very close.
Winter solstice?
Yay! Now, people have been celebrating this particular holiday for thousands and thousands of years, even before Jesus was born. Why do you think they thought it was such a big deal? Yes.
Because, well, from now on, the days are going to be getting longer.
Yeah! And that's exciting, isn't it?
You told us last service. Evidence.
And it is going to get longer. Again, it's kind of exciting, right?
Longer and longer.
Longer and longer. Okay, so what is a tradition that we have during...
I said this last service.
Oh, okay. What's a tradition that we have every single service?
We do the birthday song?
Yes, because people have birthdays. So if you're having a birthday, stand up or wave your hand so we can give you a gift. There's a birthday and birthday. And then birthdays back there. Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Oh, yes. Wait. We have a birthday up here. Oh, man. Woo. I'm telling you, that's why ushers have to wear flats. That's right. It's part of the uniform. Happy birthday. All right. So let's see. The other thing is, if people have a smartphone, what are they supposed to do with their smartphone? Okay.
Sign up on a thingy chart on your chair?
Yeah. Sign up on a thingy. I mean it. Right now, I want to see if you've got a thingy and sign up. No. Really, if you have a smartphone, let people know that you're at the Center for Spiritual Living, hearing the best music that you've heard all year long. And truly, you're going to know that. Oh, how about that? Now, the other thing is, if you're here for one of the first few times and you have not, who wants to do Vanna? Vanna does like this. Okay, great. Okay, good. You do Vanna. Oh, yes. Oh, wonderful. Vanna. So, if you're here for one of the first few times and you are not part of our extended email list, as our Vannas are showing you, please get a card that looks like this. Oh, perfect. And sign up to be part of our extended email family. Yay! Okay, you guys. And you know what? I think you guys might have to sign you up for every single Sunday. That'll make your parents crazy. All right. So, good. I think that's it. I think we're done. Thank you for my helpers. We'll talk more about the most amazing time of the year, which is winter solstice. But right now we're going to shift gears. People for thousands and thousands of years believed that the winter solstice was a holy time. So let's recognize the holiness of that by honoring them and most of our ancestors. I don't know where you came from, but if you came from someplace in the world, at least in the northern hemisphere, your ancestors thought this was a holy, holy time. So we're going to take a moment to honor this transition time, this celestial new year, with music and a beautiful prayer from Reverend Deborah Gay.
So let's just take those words in even more deeply. Surrounded by darkness can also mean taking that time, that quiet time, to go inside. This quiet place of nurturing the beginning, nurturing the planting of the first seeds of the crop that is to come. Let all the doing, all the busyness on the outside quiet down. And in this internal darkness, we feel the nurturance. We feel the support of the gestation time of that which is new and beginning. And so it is a time to grow your roots deeply into the one, into the love, into the wisdom, into the joy of life itself. Knowing that the ever-increasing light is moving through us, so that we may manifest through us all that life is desiring to be birthed through us as only we bring it to this planet. The life, the light, the love, the talent, the wisdom that you are moves through you from this place of the first planting, of the first intention of that seed. And so we know together that this is our truth. In this time of quiet, in this time of winter, in this time just before the birth. And so I'm so deeply grateful to celebrate this part of the cycle of life with you. And I say with you in acknowledgement of this. And so it is.
And this particular time of year is honored in so many different parts of the world, this particular time of the year. And what I didn't know, and I should have, but bounced into my consciousness, is that there was actually a Roman holiday. It wasn't a movie, but there was a Roman holiday that went on for 1,200 years. It was called Saturnella, and it was in honor of Saturn, which was the sun, and it was all about the birth of the sun on December 25th. Isn't that interesting? Just coincidence, I'm sure. And but even before that, even before the Roman times, people were spending a lot of time and effort to find out exactly where and when the sun would rise on the winter solstice. I mean, huge amounts of energy. I mean, that takes a lot of looking and a lot of recording. And then they would build these monuments, whether it was a Stonehenge, not because there were other stone hinges. There were stone monuments, whether it was a stone monument or it was a cave, a man-made mound, and then a cave that was put through the mound, and an altar at the end of the mound. And the only time the sun would ever enter that cave was on December 21st as the sun rose. I mean, that's a lot of time and effort. Now, that's just in Northern Europe. They also did it in Peru. They did it in Ecuador. Ecuador, like I was wondering, why Ecuador? There isn't much difference. I mean, they're on the equator. Little teeny tiny shifts. They don't do the 14-hour differences that we do. Teeny shifts, and they still wanted to know exactly when the sun would rise on the equator. The sun would rise on the northern, on the equinox. Thank you. Not the equinox. They don't want equinox. They wanted winter solstice. I forget. Jeez. It's a big deal. They did it in Egypt. It was prevalent in India. Everywhere I've gone, there were people that thought this was a big deal, and I'm really wondering why. Why is it a big deal? I think that I want to know that. I want to know why people all over the world thought this was a big deal. Because maybe they knew something. It's a thought. Actually, this is called a New Thought church or a New Thought philosophy. I don't know that we have any new thoughts. How many of you have had a new thought lately, really? One. Most of us recycle thought. But I think what we really mean by new thought is that we look at what is an old idea and have a new thought about it. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Probably everything's been given. And what happens over and over and over again, we should take note of. If that many people over that many centuries, over that many continents, really thought that it was a big deal to know what was happening in the winter solstice, maybe I want to look to see what it was. So, I have some ideas. For instance, here's some ideas about why I think it's a big deal. I think it might be a big deal because they could mark the end of the days getting shorter. And this, take a deep breath. Tomorrow, we get 3 minutes. Look at you. Exciting, isn't it? Maybe that's why they threw a party. It's over. It's not going to get any shorter. Yay. Yay. That's what I've been thinking forever. I could actually get into it. But I've sort of changed recently, and I'm sort of liking winter now. Forgive me. Because I like it getting dark early. It forces me to be more introspective. I'm not finishing things up at 10 o'clock at night. I am spending more time in study and in prayer and just being with my family. There's a difference, and I like it. So yeah, I'm excited that the days will get longer, and maybe that is the reason that they made such a big deal about this. But I don't know that it speaks to my heart. When you get excited, is it really like your heart's leaping? Does it speak to your heart? That's what I looked at last night. It's like, yeah, I get the party idea, but I'm not feeling it. So I went on. Maybe it's because that we can count on nature. Maybe they built these big complexes, and sure enough, the sun showed up just where it was supposed to every single time, right at the crack of dawn. Woohoo! Right through the cave. Yay! We can still count on nature. It's not bad. We can count on nature. It's nice to know. If I can count on the sun coming up at the same time, in the same place, over and over again, maybe I can count on the power of prayer. Maybe I can count on whatever created this system. I can count on that because it created a fairly reliable system. Maybe that's it. Maybe they were making it all a metaphor, and this might have been even true to some extent. It was a metaphor for the energy of the sun, which brings life, penetrating the earth, and therefore it was the beginning of a germination of a whole new cycle. That could be it. How many of you would like a current cycle to be over? This may be your day. This may be your day. I don't know about you, but I never want to repeat last year. Even though my spiritual practice lifted me above a bunch of stuff, I never want to do that year again. So maybe that's it. What I found interesting is that those places that would accept the sun were very small. It's not like the whole village got in there. There's usually room for maybe 1 or 2 people, the priest and maybe the king or the queen. Very small. It was like somehow they got to partake of something. And so yesterday when I was cleaning stalls, it's amazing what barn smell will do. Put you in an altered state. So I was cleaning stalls, and I don't know what happened, but I somehow imagined myself at the end of that long cave that was man-made, in a mound that was man-made, that was only lit one time a year at the exact right time. And I imagined that the light, that I was there before the dawn, and that the light would come through and then all of a sudden flood the cave walls, the tunnel, the channel, and that the light would come into me. And I thought, maybe that's why the priest was there, maybe that's why the king was there, is to realize that no matter how dark and how cold and how hard things are, light can still get through. Because at that time, 1,000 years and 2,000 years and 3,000 years and 4,000 years ago, it was the job of the priest to care for themselves in such a way that they could care for others. It was the job of the priest and the king or the queen to rejuvenate themselves so that they could know what needed to be known and do what needed to be done for the whole tribe, the village, the community, whatever. And when I thought of that and I let that go inside of me, what I realized is that light is the energy of God, and maybe that's what it's all about, is they were trying to remember that that energy didn't just penetrate the earth because there was always someone there taking it in. It was to penetrate that person. Now here's the new thought about those old ideas. We don't have the kind of, I don't have the kind of God that speaks to one person anymore. We've outgrown that. The new millennium is and what we're moving into and really realizing, and you realize that because you're here, right? If you think I've got the answer, you're going to be so disappointed. Perhaps the new way of looking at that old thing is that the light comes into all of us, that it's for all of us. At this time of the year, it's for everyone to receive that light, to have the light penetrate through what's hard and cold and dark in the soul of everyone. That's the symbol, this gorgeous, beautiful symbol of what's going on right now, because that excites me. I don't care what happened 2,000 years ago. I don't care what happened 3,000 years ago. I really care about what's happening to this girl right now, and what I can talk about so that it can happen to you. That's exciting. So let's talk a little bit about light. Light, that light, in the mystic In mystical terms, the mystics have seen light everywhere, and they make it synonymous with understanding, wisdom, and intelligence. I mean, even cartoonists get the idea. So if somebody has a bright idea, guess what? They get a light bulb. Light is wisdom, intelligence, and understanding. If we understand something like the priest needed to understand something 2,000 years ago, we have more freedom, we have more control, we have more choices when we understand. How many of you have a hard, and you can raise your hands because you won't have to tell me what it is. How many of you have a hard, dark, cold place in your soul? You may not even know what's there. When I imagined this yesterday, the light came in and I saw something I didn't even know was there. I had no idea. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Maybe in 5 years when I can say, oh yeah, I used to think that. I got to have enough distance. Then you'll laugh. Sort of like I can now say that there was a moment about 22 years ago that I realized I was a controller. But I didn't like controllers, so I was horrified that I was a controller. But I've healed that, and I love being a controller now. Doesn't bother me. I'm good at it. We all have to have talent. Anyway, I say that because what I found inside of myself yesterday was just as it was in the hard part, it was in the dark part, it was in the thing that I had pushed away, didn't want to look at, and yet when the light came in, I went, oh my goodness, but I got to reclaim a part of myself. And now I understand, and I understand a whole lot. A whole lot of things make sense when that light shows up. It's like, that's what this time is about. They say, ancients and people who are mystics and shamans say that during this time, the veil between the visible and the invisible is the thinnest. It's the time when you will see things that aren't normally seen. It's the time of the ancients, where your ancestors, who most likely, if you go back far enough, worshipped at this time, those ancestors are most accessible to you. Last week I said I saw an angel. I've never seen an angel before. Maybe I saw an angel because it's getting close. It's thin now. Maybe I can see things I hadn't seen before. Oh, by the way, I told people last week that I saw an angel, and then I went home and said, Tim, I would not have left you yesterday. Today, but I saw this angel hovering over you. He said, oh yeah, that angel. Yeah. I first saw it when I was 3. I'm like, of all the things you don't talk about, what? You didn't bring up the angel? Anyway, I got to meet one of the relatives, I guess. So this whole thing with wisdom and intelligence and understanding is important. It comes with a light. Solomon, Saul, son, man. Solomon, soul man, son man. Said with all thy getting, get understanding. See, I read this, I think in an Eric Butterworth book. I'm pretty sure it was Eric Butterworth, where he said, there are no money problems, there's only idea problems. And I would say the same for almost everything. There's no relationship problems, there's only idea problems. There's no career problem, there's only an idea problem. There's no health problems, there's only idea problems. There's no world problems, there's only idea problems. Because when we have the right idea, we can solve a lot of the world's ills, right? So really what we need as a world, and that's individually and collectively, is we just need more ideas, which means more light. You got an issue? The light is what will get you out of that issue. That's exciting. At least I think it is. Actually, I am so buzzed by this time of year. I mean, think about it. So many cultures had these caves, these dark places that the sun would come through and the sun would come into. And then 2,000 years ago, supposedly in a manger, which was most likely a stable, which always naturally happened in caves, a son was born. Oh, baby. So we let the light in, something is planted, and then we celebrate a new beginning. All this is holy time. This is holy. Whether you believe that or not, I believe it. And so it is so. You can go, in your head you can be going, I don't believe it. Just believe it. You get to say it's new anytime you want to. You get to press the restart button anytime you want to. But man, when you're doing it in an auspicious time where millions and billions of people have believed it before you, oh, it gets powerful. It gets so powerful. So what happens when we let that light in is that we begin to see rightly, and then we do rightly. We're all doing the best we can. And when we know differently, we do differently. I am in a spiritual practice. In fact, we're just finishing it. We'll finish it tonight with a group of people who did a year doing scientific Christian middle practice. And the last 6 chapters, the last 6 lessons are all about not accusing. And I'll tell you, when you stop accusing, all you can see is the light. The only thing that made anything not so was just my accusations. Totally different. I see rightly. And therefore, I would speak and think differently. So we're being asked in this time of year where the veil is very thin, we're being asked to be inspired. And I was looking up definitions of the word inspiration. It could also mean genius, insight, and vision. Can you see if you had genius, insight, and vision, you'd see clearly and then you'd do things differently? Man. So, talk. I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to ask you to start doing it about right now. And to give you a segue into that, there's a cartoon that I like where people have just gone through the pearly gates, just entered into the pearly gates, and then they see a sign. The sign says, big sign in front of them, the sign says, this way to heaven, this way to lectures about heaven. Most people go to the lectures. Why? Because we want to think about things. So knowing that the veil's thin, knowing that we have a room filled with people who are doing a deep spiritual practice, knowing that we have a room that is containing the prayers of our prayer practitioners and our practitioners in training and our inward journey people, knowing that we are rich and steeped in a deep consciousness. Would you like to do some healing work? Okay, so let's have some music. Oh, he's ready. I love it. I'm going to fool you someday, Joel. I love this. Let's just take a deep breath. And check inside to see in your physical body or your emotional body, your etheric body, check to see if you have any hard spots. Hard, dark, cold. And if you do, raise your hand. Actually, you don't even have to know what's inside. I didn't know what was in there. Yesterday, I could feel a hardness, but I didn't know what it was. And when I imagined light, it started to just talk to me. So let's just imagine that hard, dark place is asking for the light. It's asking for light. And this is the winter solstice. And imagine yourself at the end of a long, dark tunnel. And the first light of early dawn is at the very, very end, far away from you. And in your mind's eye, reach out and feel the damp earth. Feel the coldness, the coolness of it. And yet it feels comforting because Mama Earth surrounds you. And there's really not a lot of room for you to move around. So imagine yourself feeling this confined space, and yet it is a comfortable space. It holds you. It is not a prison. It is a comfort. Now, looking out through the tunnel, imagine the sun coming up. It rises, and eventually the light fills the opening of the tunnel and rushes to you and penetrates through your body into your heart. And the rays of the sun just keep showing up. It's like you can feel them entering you, filling you, and moving into all the dark, hard, cold spots. And in that light, they just simply open up. Like a seed that is introduced to water and light would open up. These hard spots open up, and they begin to reveal to you an understanding. An understanding about yourself, an understanding about your world, an understanding of others, an understanding of who you have been, an understanding of who you are called to be. Let the light work. Let the light work. Let the light work. Let the light continue to fill your body. Let the light now move out from you. You've come to understand. And now you're going to let that understanding shape your actions. The light has only liberated an understanding in you. Today is also the Saint's Day for St. Thomas. And in the Gospel according to Thomas, he said that Jesus said, "If you bring forth that which is within you, what you bring forth will save you." This new understanding will save you from the dark, cold, and hard places. Let the understanding continue to work. And eventually you'll be called to share your understanding, because light needs to be shared. In the Gospel according to Thomas, Jesus said, "Whosoever has ears, let him hear. Light shines forth from a being of light and illuminates the whole cosmos. One who fails to become this light will always be a source of darkness." I give thanks that we are allowing ourselves to be lit up from within. I give thanks that we're allowing ourselves to be healed from within. I give thanks that we're allowing ourselves to be helped and nurtured and guided from within. I give thanks that we're allowing ourselves to be inspired with a great and grand idea of ourselves and the world. We're being inspired to know how we can be a place where the world works. I give thanks that this is not coming from outside ourselves, but is being lit up inside us because we're recognizing that light is our nature. Thank you, sweet Spirit, for bringing us together on this auspicious day. And so it is. Let's take our gift, move into appreciation. Appreciation for the gift our children have given us today. Appreciation for the gift our musicians have given us. An appreciation for the gift God gave us and continues to give us, saying, you know what? No matter how hard, how dark, how cold it is, the light of God can dissolve that hard spot and reveal something important and majestic within you. I am so grateful that during this time of year, we have the opportunity to birth something beautiful within ourselves. Thank you, sweet Spirit, for this. And thank you, each and every one of you, for supporting this message, this community, and this way of living. Thank you, and so it is.